Is struggling to keep Democrats united behind health care reform in one way, shape, or form. Now, in the Senate, Democrats need every Democrat on board, and, of course, independent Joe Lieberman as well. They've abandoned the public option to get this to go forward. They've also abandoned the expansion of Medicare. But are these compromises going to really mean that it's reform in name only? It's a question that some liberals are asking this morning. And joining me now is Democratic Congressman Anthony Weiner of New York. Thanks so much for being with us. Congressman, we've had you on many times. You've pushed hard for the public option. You also are in favor of this expansion of Medicare, lowering the age in which people can get into it. The Senate bill seems to keep changing. Last week they took out the public option, added this provision to expand Medicare. Now it looks like they're going to drop that provision. In your mind, what's happening here?
Well, what's happening is that every time conservatives or those that are concerned about cost step forward and say they have a problem, they take out something that helps reduce costs. You know, the public option was something that increased competition for private insurance companies and drove down costs. They took it out. Expanding Medicare to allow people not just 65, but 64, 55, the most expensive group to insure, get covered under Medicare. Now that's been dropped out. You know, what's puzzling about all this is the very same people that say they're concerned about cost are the ones responsible for stripping out cost savings measures. So it really is a frustrating process to watch going on in the Senate.
Right. Now, for example, though, Joe Lieberman said that after thinking about it, at one point he actually spoke in favor of expanding Medicare. He says he thinks that it's going to actually make costs very, very expensive for Medicare, for the existing people that are insured. He's worried that really it's unaffordable. What do you think?
Well, frankly, that's wrong. And remember, this proposal was added at Joe Lieberman's suggestion, and it made some sense because you're taking the people who are most expensive to insure, those between 55 and 64, and saying, let's put them into a lower cost plan like Medicare. Medicare, remember, has only a 1% overhead compared to private insurance companies that have a 30% for overhead and profits. So the CBO said it would have been less expensive, and common sense said it would have. But frankly, that got dropped because the health insurance industry continues to hold an enormous amount of sway over this. They said they wanted it out, and lo and behold, it's out. So
does it make sense then to just go ahead with a bill and vote for it even if it doesn't include a public option or Medicare expansion?
Well, look, I don't believe that you should let the perfect be the enemy of the good, and unlike some people in this town, I actually want to get health care reform passed. But when we go into a House-Senate conference, one of the things a lot of my colleagues are going to be asking are, what are the things we can do to improve the choices that consumers have? Make some competition for the insurance companies. I'm not prepared to say that we should throw out the whole process, but I have to tell you something. We are at a point, you know, there's an expression that a camel is a horse created by committee. If you look at it when it's created in the Senate, it would be a horse would look like a giraffe or an elephant because it's gotten so far away from the principles that we wanted. But remember, we are going to be covering millions of more Americans. We are going to be protected from our insurance companies' abuses. So it's not like there aren't good things happening. But this bill has certainly gotten worse.
All right. Well, that's interesting because you're sort of echoing some of the sentiments of the White House. The president saying similar things. He also said that everything he had originally wanted in this bill is there, that it's deficit neutral, that it bends the cost curve, that it covers 30 million Americans who would not have insurance. And also, as you just said, that it would help bring some reforms in there to prevent abuse in the insurance system. The president really wants this bill, but there are some liberals who are saying this would be reform in name or name only. In fact, former DNC chair Howard Dean says scrap this thing and start over again, that it's not even reform. What do you think?
Well, I reserve the right to join him at the end of the day. This does have to get better. Look, what Governor Dean has said is not wrong. We started in the wrong place. We're trying to see everything we can possibly do to protect the private insurance companies in this process, when what we really should be doing is seeing how it is that we get them to contain costs as well. Every step of the way, it seems like we've taken away the fulcrums that help hold costs down.
Right.
And I want to remind you something, and that is the President of the United States at the beginning of this process and throughout the campaign for president said he wanted the public option in.
Right.
Well, he's the president, and I would hope that he could persuade this conference committee that's going to be formed now between the House and Senate, once the Senate passes it, to try to put some of those things back in.
Doesn't appear he's going to do that, though. He seems as he said yesterday, happy with the progress made. He doesn't seem to care if there's a public option or if Medicare is expanded. What do you want to hear from him?
Well, what I want to hear from him is an understanding that it's not like we're going to be coming back here next year or the year after. Remember, when Medicare was passed 44 years ago, there were many people at the time who were in Congress and in the public who said, you know what, let's start at 65 and then grow it in the years to come. That was 44 years ago, and even to this day, we haven't added another year of expansion. So I think this is an opportunity, and if we don't get it right here, we're not going to be given the chance to do more later on.
And a lot of your colleagues are racing. They want this done before the Christmas break. So we'll have to see how it goes. Congressman Anthony Weiner, always great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back at 16 minutes past the hour.
Because our carbon footprint will decide the journey of other species on our planet, clean, green energy is the right step into the future. Therefore, Suzlon.
'Tis the season of holiday car commercials. A time when you ask yourself, do I go with the oversized red bow or the joy of driving a BMW? Exactly. Hurry in to the BMW Joy Sales Event for a holiday finance credit of up to $2,500, along with BMW's no-cost maintenance program.
Right now at Men's Warehouse, you'll find sport coats and suits at our lowest prices of the season. And when you buy any suit, you'll get a second one for only $100. You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
Campbell Brown. CNN Tonight, 8 Eastern.
This is a small business. It's where most jobs are created. Washington doesn't really understand that. They rushed through an $800 billion stimulus package. But instead of giving the money to small businesses that create jobs, they gave the money to government agencies. Do government agencies create jobs? You know the answer to that one. I'm Linda McMahon. I approved this message because it's time to cut spending, stop raising taxes, and put Connecticut back to work.
How can you use Optimum Wi-Fi? Say you're ready for the big presentation when...
It's supposed to say bold, not bald.
Uh-oh. Could cause quite a client...